Oh, good. So, hey, this is John Kachaki doing another segment of what I call the ramblings of a deranged accountant. And I say that because I think we have kind of a different approach to how we do and conduct business. And I think it's more helpful to you as business owners. Um, I saw a flaw in my profession, and this is why I became self employed. You know, people think that they work for the government or the general public, and you have some sort of highfalutin standard to be objective. And you know what? I'm an advocate. I'm an advocate for my clients. I want to help them get the best possible financial information. I want to help them pay the lowest amount in taxes. And I want to do it properly. I want to do it scientifically. And I want to do it creatively. So let me start with, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw out some of the favorite cliches that I have made up in all my years in business and what they mean and how they relate to you. The first one, and I think is the most important, I guess that's why it's first, is your small business is a big deal to you and your family and your financial future and your financial legacy. And it will be to me as well. And my team will work to make sure that you maximize the benefit of being in business. And that cannot be overstated. It's important to you. It's important to us. Now, the second thing I'm going to say is, and I borrow this from my friend Erin Marie, being nice versus being good. Being nice is me telling you that everything in your business plan is proper and complete and makes good sense. And being good to you is going, that's nuts. You need to fix it. You need to change that. You need to work on that. And let's make it better. Let's make it more effective. And you don't need somebody out there just rubber stamping everything you say, no matter how smart or how difficult it is. It is. So that's very important. Again, let's get you the information you need and let's evaluate it properly. And I'm going to tell you what you need to hear. And on two occasions, when you want to hear it and when you don't. And it's when you don't that you definitely do need to listen the most. Now, my third favorite cliche is what is properly measured can be effectively managed. If you want to manage your business properly, you got to understand your numbers. You got to understand what's behind it. Because if you don't have those measurement statistics and information behind you, and you don't know where you're spending your money, where it's coming, where it's going, you're asking yourself to fail. Now, along with that, here's my next one. As I say, negativity is a cancer on the soul. So we're going to be positive about what we do. We are going to have expectations that you are going to be successful and you're going to succeed in your business. And we're going to make sure that you have the tools to do that. And that's very, very important. Now, along with that is the next one. I hear people say all the time, and it drives me crazy. Hindsight is 2020. I said that's garbage. At best, hindsight is 50-50. Most people are destined and doomed to make the same mistakes over and over and over again. Let's find out what mistakes you're making. Let's correct them. Let's move on, and let's not make those anymore in the future. Now, and that I guess ties into my opportunity. Some people see a pile of poop. Other people see an opportunity to start a fertilizer factory. There are opportunities out there. And seizing on them and understanding what the market looks like and seizing on them is something that we're going to do. Now, if we're just going to roll on rambling, like I said, rambling. If you have a brick and mortar business, the next thing you need to consider is that the most expensive rent you can get is cheap rent. If you rely on traffic and you rely on people seeing your signage, and you pay cheap rent that's tucked in the corner somewhere and nobody can find you and nobody can see you, you know what? Nobody, with the possible exception of me, is so good that people are going to hunt you down and seek you out when they have trouble finding you. They don't know where you are. They can't contact you. So let's make sure that we understand what our business is, what customers we're looking for, and let's be in a position where they can be found. Now, when we talk about relating to customers, and I guess I stole this one a little bit from teaching kids about things, but I talk about good touch and bad touch. And what that means in business is you don't want to spend your whole business day dealing with problems and issues. You need to set aside some time to do some good touch, to call your good clients and make it better, to enhance relationships, to find out what they're doing, what they want, what they need, and what the next step is. You know, I had a guy, he had a business once that was very seasonal. And he said, what can I do in the off season? I said, why don't you ask your customers, ask your clients, what do they want? What do they need? What do they have faith in you to do and accomplish and get done? So let's ask our clients and let's resell. Let's go back. Let's talk to people more. Now, another thing that I see people do all the time is, you know, in the old days, I guess, everybody had retirement plans and everybody had pensions and everybody had this. But your income as a small business owner not only fuels your current needs, but it also fuels your future. So I say what you need to do is you need to figure out a way to split your money with your future self. If that's starting a SAP or an IRA or something like that, that's great. If it's buying the building your office or storefront is, and owning that building and paying it off over 20 years and then selling it and annuitizing the value of that building at the end of your business life. If it's creating a saleable, scalable marketable business, that's a way to take your current money now, put it away in a tax-deferred situation, and get it back at some point in the future. And there are a lot of tools for that, and there are a lot of different ways to go about it. So you and I need to sit down and we need to talk about that. We need to understand what your future is going to look like. Another common problem that people make is, and I like to say, don't give away what you're good at. You know, and I guess I'm doing that now. I'm giving you a lot of information, a lot of ideas, but this is just the beginning and just scratches the surface. But let's figure out what your best product is, what your best service is, and let's figure out a way to not give it away. Don't be so ego driven that you have to share information with people for free. If you don't recognize, and I guess this is a cliche and a half, if you don't recognize the value of your knowledge, skills, and abilities, then how can you expect your customers or clients to do that? That's I think that's a very significant thing to think about. And when you're analyzing your business, I say management by gut feel is being replaced by management by proper review of analytics. And what that means is I have a lot of people, they come in here and they say, oh, I need $1 million to start my business. No, you don't. You need $500,000. No, you don't. You need $2 million. You can't go to the bank with some vague idea of what you need and expect them to just write a check and loan you the money to start a business. Let's be smart about it. Let's understand. Let's be methodical. You need some working capital. You need some equipment. You need to hire some labor. All those things put together, and let's put a realistic number together instead of just start throwing out random numbers that somebody may or may not agree to fund you. And I think it's very difficult if you don't have a solid plan with a really good use of funds in there. And the natural offshoot of that is franchising. I work with a lot of franchisors and franchisees and in franchise development. And when we're talking about franchises, franchising is the ability to follow up, create a process as a franchisor and follow a process as a franchisee. Let's think about it methodically. Let's learn from other people's mistakes rather than our own mistakes. Let's get some collective wisdom together. And that's really all franchising is, unless it's a higher level where they are these great marketing companies that spend billions and billions of dollars a year on advertising. And we know they're all out there. Um, they're all out there selling and they're all out there marketing, and there's no way you could match that if you owned your own burger shop down the street. It's very, very hard to throw out advertising compared to a lot of the advertising that's being spent by other people. Now, with franchising, some of them are great, some of them are okay, some of them are merging, and we just don't know. So that leads me to my next one that's a very general comment. I think everybody is part hot air. The key in successful business ownership is understanding whether the person you're talking to is 5% full of hot air or 95% full of hot air. What are they blowing? Are they blowing smoke? Or do they have something real behind it? Let's talk to them. Let's try to be objective. A lot of times I see people lose a lot of money because they invest in something because they want so badly to work that they're willing to forego reason and logic and just jump in with both feet because of the promises on the back end. Now, the opposite of that is, I think I've seen a lot of people that have what I call a fear of success. They get right to the point where they're being successful and they seem to sabotage themselves, and hurt what they're doing. I guess because they've reached a comfort level with their excuses. And once they abandon their excuses and have to deal with reality, they can get to the point where they're in uncharted waters and they just have to push forward. So that's something always to consider. And yes, you have to abandon that life preserver that's the excuse. I didn't have enough money. I didn't have this. I didn't have enough time. I had to go take care of my kids. I had to, and let's drop all the excuses. Let's figure out what's right and true. And easy, whether things are easy or hard, that's another cliche. And I heard that somebody told me that somebody else has this in the book, and I didn't invent it, when I said, when you're looking for your keys or something you lost, do you look where the light is good, or do you look where you think you lost it? And I think we don't want to take the easy road all the time. Sometimes the road is a little bit tougher. Sometimes the path is not gilded. You can't follow the yellow brick road. You got to wade through the cornfield and get some mud on your shoes. And it's not always an easy process. Now, one of the other things I see is, especially in the era of SEO, it seems like so many people are competing with you on price, and they're always and because you pop up at the top of the SEO or you're third or fourth, somebody will call you and say, how much for this, how much for that, and they really don't have enough information. When you go to a car dealership, every car is priced differently, based on the features and whether it's a big one or a small one or an SUV or a sports car with a huge engine or whatever. But people want you to compete on price. And if you choose to compete on price, or if somebody chooses to compete with you on price, you have three choices in dealing with it. Number one, you match their price. Number two, you prove that you're better. And number three, you get out of the business and look for a new job, because nobody's going to pay you more than you're worth or more than the competition is charging if you haven't proven that you're better at what you do. So let's look at it and let's see how you're competing, what you're doing, and what you're offering, and make darn sure that when you talk to somebody, they know what your value, what is a value proposition is. Because I think it happens that people assume, I know it does in my profession, all accountants are the same, and this is the same and that's the same, and there is no distinguishing as far as the quality work or what's given as a part of the service. So you want to be sure that you get that point across. And I don't, and you have to talk to some marketing people about that, because I'm not totally keen on how to do that. But what I know is it's selling yourself short to immediately go to that price and say, I'm going to match whatever the guy charged you. And I'll tell you a couple funny stories. People call me and say, how much do a tax return? And I said, well, do you have your files in a filing cabinet? And they say, yeah. I said, well, hold your phone up to the filing cabinet. I'll give you a price. Or they say, hey, I'm a typical shoebox client. How much do you charge? My immediate response is, well, what size shoe do you wear? I mean, it points out kind of the fallacy of them asking that question without giving me any facts or information. And everybody that calls, well, a lot of people that call, hey, I got a very, very easy tax return. Should take you 2 minutes. How much do you charge? Well, I'll determine what I charge. I'll determine how much time it'll take. And you know what? I honestly believe that I am always fair, and I'm always point on with my clients, and I will not overcharge them, but I will always provide them the value that they need. So those are some of my cliches, and I really enjoy them, and I'll probably think of a few more as we go on. But there are a few also out there that I like. One of my favorite from Gandhi is, first they ignore you, then they laugh at you, then they fight you, then you win. If you have a good idea, if you have a good business, people are going to ignore you. You're going to go to the bank and say, hey, I got this idea. Picture some of the people with new inventions going to the bank and asking for money and seeing what they say. And can you imagine, like, IBM laughing at Apple 30, 40 years ago, or however long it was? Can you imagine? And then they fight you. They try to say, well, this doesn't work. This isn't good. And then you know what? You just relax, and then you win. And I think in League of Their Own, they said, of course it's hard. It's supposed to be hard. If it was easy, everybody would do it. This is the life we have chosen to lead as business owners. We work late at night. We stay until it's done. We handle our customers. We give our customers extra service. You don't call offices of small business owners. You don't call retail shops of small business owners and get auto attendants or somebody 8,000 miles away. You talk to the business owner. You talk to the person, and we take personal interest and responsibility for what we do and how we treat our customers and clients. And that's what separates us. So yeah, I'm not telling you it's going to be easy. I'm telling you that ultimately it's going to be worth it. And I can't remember who said that. I think it was Art Williams that actually said that quote. And then even Teddy Roosevelt once, right, talked about, it's not the critics that matter. It's the people that are out there working and doing the job. So every time you come to people with crazy idea that you're going to start a business, you're going to say, oh, that won't work. No, don't, stop, don't, be afraid. You know what? If you have confidence in your ability and your skills, don't let the naysayers beat you down. Stay confident, stay poised, stay happy, and do your job. And you know what? At the end of the day, you're going to outwork people, and that's what's going to make you successful. I think at everything you do. It was Ted Williams, and I do a lot of these quotes. Ted Williams once said, "Everybody's got to have goals. My goal is to have people walk down the street and say, there goes the best hitter that ever lived." And you know what? He's probably right. He's also one of the best Marine fighter pilots that ever lived, but that's another story entirely. And then, a couple of Babe Ruth quotes. One Babe Ruth quote: "Never let the fear of striking out get in your way." Yes, you're going to swing and miss at some things. What was the Apple Lisa might be a good example of that, right? Ford didn't collapse because of the Edsel. So a lot of us, sometimes we make mistakes in business. But going back to a point number whatever I had, is hindsight. Let's make hindsight 2020. Let's not make it 50-50. Let's not make the same mistakes. Let's, you and I, sit down, go over your successes and figure out how to repeat them. Let's go over your failures and figure out why that happened to make sure that they don't get repeated. And then, yeah, it's lonely to be in business for yourself, and it would be beneficial, as far as I'm concerned, to have somebody that understands finances, that wants to be in there with you, wants to be the financial leg of your stool, that can help you understand what you're doing and how you're doing it from a financial perspective and get to where you need to be. Because going the distance, right? Like in the first Rocky movie, going the distance, getting up when you don't think you can, going one more round. That's what separates us, the achieving business owners and the achieving entrepreneurs, from the rest of them. So how do I conclude all that? What am I going to do? Okay, let's do this. I want to say this. No business is too small to get good professional help. And yes, if you want to sit there and say, oh, the big boys get all the tax breaks. Oh, the big boys do this. The big boys do that. The big boys get the best advice. Well, go out and find it. Find the best advice. Find out how to run and operate your business more efficiently. And that doesn't mean you're doing it poorly now. It just means that maybe you need a little bit more help. You need a little bit more financial savvy in what you do. I'm here to help, and I want to help you. And I have a special passion for business owners, people that want to be successful, that have the drive, the ambition, and I want to make sure that you have the financial tools to be successful. So that's me. Again, me rambling, and this was a very rambling one, so I'm very pleased with what we have said here. If you want to take your financial side of your business seriously, if you want to get the kind of information you need to run and manage your business, if you're very, very interested in paying the least amount of taxes possible, if you're interested, oh God, I don't know, am I going to say it? Taking your business to the next level? That's just another cliche, right? But yes, where are we going to go? How are we going to get there? How are we going to overcome the 4 biggest problems that most business owners face? How do we get more sales? How do we manage cash flow? How do we hire and retain good employees? And how do we pay less money in taxes? If you have 1, 2, 3, or all 4 of those questions, you and I need to meet and talk. I'm here and I'm waiting for you. And I'm ready to get started in helping you. So give me a call. I'm right here. All right. Thanks, and have a great day. Have a successful day. Be better than you were yesterday, and your future self will thank you for it.